Hello and welcome to Surveyor Says, the podcast from the National Society of Professional Surveyors. Each week, we bring you fascinating guests that are involved in the profession of surveying. We cover a lot of ground, including Table Lay Talk with Gary Kent, Point of Order with the NSPS Joint Government Affairs Team, Future Focus, highlighting current and future leaders of the profession, and everything survey-related in between. Thanks for joining us here on the podcast, and hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of Surveyor Says. Hello and welcome to another episode of Surveyor Says. This is your host, Tim Burch. And my guest today, well, you've gotten to know her over the past couple of years, and you're going to get to know her even more as she is the NSPS President-elect. It is our favorite South Dakota director, Miss Linda Foster. Linda, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Tim. How are you?
Doing well. We're catching her in between conferences, sessions, various things. She is still on the road, but that's just the way it goes for when you're Linda Foster and you're going all over the place. So for those who don't know you, can you give us just a little background, a little bio of who you are, where you've been, what you've been doing, and why are you so qualified to do all of these things that you're doing?
Boy, that was a loaded one there, Tim.
Of course.
But I'm happy. I'm happy to share a little bit about myself. So yes, Linda Foster. I am currently the director of land records and cadastre for Esri. I've been with Esri for about 2 years now, leading our industry solutions around land records, cadastre, surveying, and the like. But prior to coming to Esri, as many of you probably already know, I worked in private sector consulting. Worked my way up to managing a geospatial division in a private sector consulting firm, engineering and surveying, and spent my career as a registered land surveyor and also GIS professional, as many of you know, and just thoroughly enjoyed the community and the work I've done, and can't wait to continue working in this space. It's an exciting time to be in surveying and all things geospatial.
Well, and while typically our Surveyor Says visits are really about getting to know the people and their stories. We've captured that before, and we can go back and well, we need to dig out a few more of your stories one of these days. You've had such an interesting career. However, today we're here to talk about and promote a little bit further. Yes, this is an Esri initiative. This is an Esri driven seminar series, but what's typically what someone would think is typically Esri is just all GIS. What you've done is helped create this series about the GIS and the surveyor. And this latest one is the role of GIS and surveying in a digital twin. Tell us a little bit of how this topic came about and how you were able to find a pretty good speaker that you're going to have talking about with some experience on a surveying and a digital twin.
So part of what inspired me to think about this particular topic stems from many of the state surveying conventions I spoke at earlier this year. I was fortunate to be invited to come and speak in many different states at state conventions, and had many great conversations, and the topic of digital twin would pop up once in a while, or admittedly, I might bring it up once in a while just to see what folks are thinking about, what they know about it. I get a lot of questions about it from the surveying community when I'm out and about. It's one of those buzzwords that's out there, perhaps, and folks, I think, are still just trying to figure out where they fit. What does it mean? How do we go about it? What is the digital twin? What's my role or place in it? So hoping that this particular webinar will help answer some of those questions. And of course, Narelle Underwood needs no introduction. She's a fantastic member of our global surveying community, and just a terrific ambassador for the surveying profession as a whole, but also a leader in the space and doing some amazing things over in Australia as their Surveyor-General. And so I think one of the most amazing things about a professional society or professional organizations as a whole is leveraging those organizations and networking and learning from each other. And so I thought it would be really fun to have her join us and just to share her experience from Australia, what they're doing over there, the success they're seeing, how they're doing it, what's driving it. And of course, it's such a wonderful example of how surveying and GIS do converge and can come together for very positive results.
Oh, exactly. And I guess, and for those who aren't aware of who Narelle Underwood is, you need to give her a Google, need to see some of the articles she's written and the role she fills with the New South Wales region over there. Can you speak to how significant is having a surveyor in this role overseeing such a large project in some place like New South Wales, Australia?
I think it's a shining example of, the role a surveyor really does play and will play moving into the future. And many of you out there have seen my diagrams when I've presented and such. We all know that we have NSRS modernization, datum changes coming here. It all starts with the foundational sciences of geodesy and then up into surveying. And that supports everything that we do in our societies and in our communities and the like. And I think this is such a great example. Narelle is the Surveyor-General, which it's a bit of a different structure in Australia than we have here in our country. But I think it's a shining example of having a surveyor in an official government role that's directing all of these activities and bringing a cohesiveness to that practice, if you will. So I think it's wonderful because, I think she's the 25th, if I'm not mistaken, Surveyor-General since 1787. So Australia obviously has a very long history and lineage, and consistency in this type of a position. And so I think it's a great example. But Narelle is, of course, faced as much as we all are with bringing things into a modernized state. And she's done an amazing job.
Well, I agree. For those who want to learn a little bit about Narelle, besides Googling her, she was a guest on the podcast, episode 140 from a couple of years ago. Wonderful, wonderful lady. And I guess to further solidify your comments about the longevity and the historical importance of that role. Yes, this is a position that oversees. I think she quoted a couple of hundred people, and overseeing a system that converted everything to digital submissions and various aspects to further enhance that digital twin. So this is going to be a great seminar in my mind, simply because, not that it's necessarily a finished product. I mean, obviously something of this magnitude is always going to grow and change, but she's in a position of been there, done that, and can help identify the problems, help identify the successes of what's happened, and really some of the aspects of how all of this data needed to come together and work in a real world system.
Yes, and if knowing Narelle, I know the vision is far from over, and so I suspect that she will have many things that are forthcoming. She's got a lot of vision and is continuing to build and grow and work on what they're doing there. And I think it's just a great opportunity for us as surveyors to come together and learn from one another. And like Tim said, best practices, what are some of the challenges and hurdles and those types of things. That's how we all grow together and strengthen what we do every day.
Absolutely. So we're looking forward to it. Give us some dates and times. We'll get all this posted in the show notes, but tell us some dates and date and time of the seminar, and how does one go about getting registered for this?
Great question, Tim. September 5th. It's coming up right around the corner. So if you haven't registered yet, please get out there and register. 2 p.m. Pacific time, I believe, is the time for that. We're, of course, working with global time zones, and so we had to be quite strategic in ensuring that we could get as many folks on as we could without someone having to sacrifice some sleep in the process. So bear with us on the maybe unique times that this is going out. It will be recorded. So if you are in the field or you're unable to attend, no worries. Just sign up and please get your name in so that you can get access to the recording once we're finished, and you can catch up on your own time if you're not able to make that. Tim will be sending it out on social media In
Yes.
fact, you could probably just search it online and find it. Look us up on LinkedIn. You'll see it there as well. So we'll make sure it's out there and available. Direct mail to NSPS members. So watch your inboxes.
Yes, absolutely. Now, this is part of a larger series of seminars that Esri's been putting on. NSPS has been doing what we can to promote all of these things. I guess, can you tell us a little bit about some of the seminars that people can go back and watch? And really, what is the goal of Esri and NSPS Surveyors and GIS webinar series? What was the uh, from your unique perspective as a professional land surveyor and a GISP, what do you hope that either side can get out of these various sessions?
Oh, great question. At the end of the day, ultimately and always, it's education. How can we learn from each other? How can we get the information out? One thing that I see a lot, I get questions a lot, and even as a practitioner, it's a constant learning curve, no matter what area you work in predominantly as far as practicing and the like, especially technology. And I think it's just critical that we help individuals get access to ways to learn and stay caught up with what's happening and what's going on. And so we did a webinar series last year. I believe we produced 3 webinars. And really, it was just an opportunity to get surveyors together and really explore some of the ways that they can leverage GIS in their daily work. How can it help them be more efficient? How can they put it to work for them? Because it really is a very powerful tool, as I experienced when I was a practicing professional as well. I leveraged it daily in my work as a surveyor. And so I think my goal is to just get out there and be able to share some of those experiences, be able to help folks stay up to date in what's available and how GIS can come alongside them in the work that they do. So hopefully these will be thought-provoking, educational. That's the goal. It's just awareness and it will hopefully spark some thought of, you know what, I want to learn more about that, or hey, that's really interesting. I think maybe it fits in what I do, and then go explore, or give us feedback. Are there topics and areas that you'd like to explore further, or that you're finding in your daily practice that would be helpful and you'd like to learn more?
Right. Well, and I guess that's a couple of questions I would like to just pitch out there. And looking back over the 3 seminars from last year, the first one was GIS for surveyors. The second one was parcel management for surveyors. And the last one was data collection, field data collection for surveyors. And this is all part of the Esri and NSPS Surveyors and GIS webinar series. Yeah, easily Googled and found. Question for you that once again you have wore both hats quite well as professional surveyor and GISP. What are some of the true strengths of GIS that surveyors should embrace when thinking about getting and the use of GIS? It's another tool in the toolbox, but what are the real strengths of this? I mean, is it parcel management? Is it the being able to visualize and really contain field improvements and things? I mean, I don't think it's to me, it's not something that you're trying. It's not something to replace all of the survey software that's out there. It's something to augment and help database and manage that much more. But tell us what your particular viewpoint on that is.
Oh, absolutely. So maybe I'll start with, why did I lean into GIS in my career? What drew me to explore it, learn it, leverage it? And it truly was to figure out how to do my work as a surveyor better. How can I be more efficient? How can I keep track of what I'm doing? How can I better serve my customers, my clients in the work that I'm doing? Because I worked in a firm for nearly 17 years, same firm. So we had a lot of repeat clients. We had a lot of work that we did in adjacent areas. Well, after many, many years, and many, many, many projects later, that's a lot of data, a lot of information, a lot of, gosh, I think I worked in this area maybe 10 years ago.
Yes.
And so by leveraging GIS, you can pull all of your data together and really use it to power your own business, your own workflows. You can organize your data. You can see where you've been. If you're exploring, looking at an RFP or a new job, you can look at what you've already done in that area, perhaps, and make some better decisions about what were some things we ran into? What were, where did we actually work? What have we done up to this point? What do we know about the area? And at the end of the day, what GIS really does for us is it gives us different and better insight to make better decisions. It's data driven, it's information driven, and it's that database piece, right? And in the ability to analyze and make decisions. And so that's a reason to use it perhaps in your own business. Footnote, I did put a blog out earlier this year on 5 ways surveyors can leverage GIS. Check it out because it addresses this question very specifically, like what are ways that I as a surveyor can leverage GIS and really use it in my daily business. Now, something that I think we're going to be seeing, and surveyors in particular will be seeing more and more of this as we move into the future, really stemming somewhat from the infrastructure funding, but digital submission, digital as-builting, collecting and producing data and having to deliver it to an owner or a customer or a client in a digital form tied to geodetic control. All of these things are rapidly approaching and evolving and are going to probably have some element of GIS in it. And when we go back to that concept of a digital twin, what is a digital twin? It's representing our physical and built world in a digital way. And everything that we do as surveyors every day, project by project, builds that digital twin, builds that digital world, or will feed it, I believe, as we move into the future. And that's something that I think we all struggle with as surveyors. We do very specific work, project specific, site specific. And so we get very focused on that site, that subdivision, that, lot or that development. But that's a building block to our world, our communities, our society. And so that's what's going to feed our digital twins as we move into the future. And so I think that's why it's good for surveyors to have just some base knowledge about GIS and what it can do, because I think as we continue down the road, you'll likely see more, requirements for submitting some way digitally, regardless of what that mechanism looks like. It's just good to have awareness of those different mechanisms.
Absolutely. And the push to digital, I mean, most of us think that everything's somewhat digital now anyway, but there's so much, there's much more room to grow. And obviously we're going to keep leveraging that way into more digital. I think, to be honest with you, I think the surveying profession is on the tip of the iceberg as far as what can truly be captured digitally. I think we're still working towards that. And the migration towards including GIS into this is a big step. So
it is. And it is. And if I could just add one last point of where is the surveyor critical in all of this? It's the professional who has the knowledge of, we hear a lot about high accuracy data collection, those types of information, collecting data for supporting design, supporting many of these processes. Surveyors are the ones who wield that knowledge, who have those skills and expertise, and so should absolutely be sitting at the table at these conversations as this data gets integrated together. And that's what I think so neat about Narelle's position is that she represents that in her organization. She is the guiding light. She is the expertise and the knowledge in assembling and bringing something like a digital twin together.
And she brings a fantastic personality and just vibrant outlook to the surveying profession into the engineering professional constructed world. So
absolutely,
I'm looking forward to this. It's always a blast talking with Narelle about anything, and then when you get her engaged into, obviously she's in a role that she is very, very well suited for, and I think everyone that has not heard her will be impressed with what she's been able to accomplish down under, which will be a lot of fun. I would be amiss. Well, I will say we're in the show notes. We'll put your industry blogs up as well. A lot of great content there as well. Thank you, Linda, for putting that stuff out, and as well as the few things you've put out over the years with some of the survey magazines and others. All great stuff. But I would be amiss if I didn't ask. You are marching your way through being president-elect for NSPS. And getting set to take the reins next March at our spring business meeting installation. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing behind the scenes preparing for your presidency, and kind of laying out for our listeners, what goals would you like to see us really attack and accomplish during your time as president?
Sure. So a lot happening in the survey world right now. As we all know, it's a busy, busy time, but it's an exciting time. And I'm very much looking forward to, I'm enjoying working with our current leadership right now. We're have rolled up our sleeves here since the last big business meeting we had, and we've been working hard on getting our strategic plan updated and dusted off and getting some things put together in that vein, which really will provide the roadmap for not only myself but leadership that's to come. And so I'm really excited. It's a tiring effort. It's a lot of work, but we have a great group on XCOM. We meet regularly, and we're working through it as we go, with hopes of having a draft out by the fall business meetings and something for broader consideration by the spring business meeting. So hopefully I'll have more to share with everyone then. Two big initiatives, of course, that are very near and dear to me, and that I've been involved with, and I want to continue my involvement, is workforce development. Those who've come before me and some of the folks that I'm currently on the leadership team with have worked tirelessly to get some workforce development traction in our profession, and I think we've really done a good job. There's a lot more to do, but we're building that foundation. We've got a fantastic base underneath us, and so that's very exciting, because we all know that that's something that we need to be very mindful of and paying attention as we move forward. And then NSRS modernization. I know everyone is probably becoming tone deaf perhaps on NSRS modernization, but please don't, because it's very important and becoming more and more real every day as we go by. It's near completion and getting close to rolling out here in the next year and a half. And so definitely very important topic for myself on both sides of all sides of the geospatial industry need to really be paying close attention to the NSRS modernization. So I look forward to contributing everything I can in helping further that along, get it embedded in our surveying communities, help with education, understanding, and those types of things. So we have a lot going on beyond that, but I don't want to take up too much time here. So those are some of the high points of what's going on. But yes, looking forward to the next year for sure.
Well, it kind of bleeds over into my typical final question. I think you've touched on a lot of it, but we'll let you put a bow on it. How's the future of surveying look to Linda Foster and all of the things going forward from here?
The future of surveying is super bright. I mean, I couldn't be more excited about our profession and what's happening in it, where we can go. The sky is the limit, everyone. We have so much opportunity in our hands right now in the surveying profession. And I hope that I can do a little bit to help further that into the future, advance that. Anything I can do, I certainly will, to help support it, because it's an amazing time to be a surveyor, and it's only going to get better from here.
I have to agree with you, and I'm very bullish on the future as well. We're seeing a lot of good things happening within the surveying profession, and it's nice to know that leadership it is going to continue to be very strong in NSPS for the next couple of years. So, well, Linda, enjoy your time at your next conference and your next conference and your next conference. Safe travels, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the 5th with Narelle and a very, very, I think, a very informative but yet entertaining seminar, simply because it's between you and Narelle, you're going to be it's quite impressive what the two of you have done, and the data that you're going to bring forward, which will be great.
Yeah.
Well, I think that'll wrap it up for this week's Surveyor Says. Wherever you listen, hit that subscribe button. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up in the next few weeks. So hit that subscribe and pay attention, and we'll talk to you soon. You've been listening to the Surveyor Says podcast, brought to you by the National Society of Professional Surveyors. If you have any questions about today's episode or any other topic, please email us at info@nsps.us.com, and we are here to help. Visit our website, nsps.us.com, to learn more about our association, the programs we administer and support, our sustaining members, and information about future episodes of Surveyor Says. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, as well as our podcast host, Podbean. And remember, it's a great day to be a surveyor.